Listen, and all you desire will be yours. Welcome to Spider-Dan and the Secret Balls. Prepare for Prattle.
Well, Danny boy, them plates of alcohol and from glen to glen, went down the mountainside. That summer's gone, when all the roses are falling. Dead you must go, this you must go, but I must buy.
Welcome to Prattle World. I am your host, the ever-amazing, ever-spectacular Spider-Dan. And in this podcast, I spotlight entertainment's best-kept secrets that a mainstream audience may find boring. And welcome back to Danny B Movies, where I introduce a guest and or myself to a cult movie. And it is the second part of Yakuza month, looking at Japanese gangsters and the culture behind them. And we have back one of my favourite guests, a super scouser. It is Mr. Dan Burgess. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Welcome back. And
Full of the joys of spring after watching Sonatine.
Sonatine! Yes, we have watched Sonatine from 1993 by Beat Takeshi Katana. Who
Trips off the tongue.
I know, very, very tricky name to pronounce. Who is probably most famous for being the host, the original host of Takeshi's Castle.
Yes. Or unless if you're Japanese as a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
He's not famous for being an actor. That's faux.
He's not, and he's not famous for doing, mundane, depressing gangster films.
No, which is quite surprising.
Not in Japan. However, internationally, he's not really known as a comedian. He's known for these kind of films that he's made, which is really quite interesting. That I mean, in Japan, we're getting right into it already. We're getting well dug in, straight in. No messing about. But yeah, they were financially they were just not very successful films, but they got an international release and popular, and Quentin Tarantino's a big fan of Takeshi Katana's films. Said that he has is trying to go after kind of the same things that creatively that Tarantino was, so he appreciates that. But then he also says that Katana was more of a minimalist in his approach.
It's very much you can see that in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Huge.
It's very similar to this film, in fact.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
but with a bit more facial movement.
When did Reservoir Dogs come out? What year was that?
I think it was 94.
94?
Okay. Was it that year?
Yeah, I don't know. Because this is 93. This came out in 93, so I don't know if maybe
I'm gonna check.
Did one influence the other, or was it the other way around?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's definitely early
92.
92. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe across universal consciousness, they were kind of going after the same ideas, same time.
Yeah, maybe cut this bit out of the podcast so I sound like I actually know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm keeping this in.
I'm keeping it.
Keep it all in. Keep it all in. This is all good shit.
It all goes in.
It all goes in.
That's what she said.
But yeah, it's quite interesting. People in the West may know him more famously from a few things. So he was in Johnny Mnemonic and guess what he played?
Takeshi.
He played Takeshi, and also he played a Yakuza.
He does look the part.
Oh yeah.
He's like a little stocky looking.
In fact, Johnny Mnemonic was actually funded mostly with Japanese money, and you can kind of tell the kind of cyberpunk. Yeah. But in the Japanese version, there's a lot more Takeshi Katana because obviously he's very popular over there, and that happens a lot with like China as well. Like there was like a Chinese character in Iron Man 3 that they had to put in for some political reasons. Something about selling milk or something. It's very weird.
As you do.
Very weird. But he played like I think it was Chen Lu, the radioactive man from Marvel Comics he played, but very weird. He doesn't turn I think he turns up in the movie for like 3 seconons and then he's like, hello, Chen Lu. Oh, hello. And then
if you watch it in China, he's in the entire film and
pretty much.
Waving in the background.
Just drinking loads of milk. It is something about it was some sort of political thing to get people to drink milk. It was some sort of scandal with milk or something. Look into it yourselves. I can't remember the whole deal. Very weird tangent. Chinese milk.
That's what you want from you. That's what people listen for.
But yeah, Johnny Mnemonic, Battle Royale. He's in. I think he's in the first 2 Battle Royale films by Kinji Fukasaku, who I talked about with Andy last week. Not last week in real time, but last week podcast wise. And I'm going to talk about him a little later as well. But and then also Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
Indeed.
But yes, before we go any further, Dan, I would like you to try your best to describe the plot of Sonatine.
Well, thanks. This is my favourite.
This is your challenge. This is your challenge.
So basically, Takeshi is a mid-level Yakuza boss in a very successful. His area is really successful.
Very financially, viable. Yeah.
Although, when you see the beginning of the film, you think, why? It's just bizarre. But his boss says you're going to go to Okinawa. So he thinks, what's going on here? It's obviously some kind of, I'm getting replaced. I'm going to get thrown away with.
Well, he's saying that, you know, my last time you sent me away, 3 of my men died. Yeah. And he basically says, I didn't like that.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't like that. So what's, you know, and then he says, I think there's a character. No, that's it. Takeshi's called Murakawa.
Murakawa,
yeah. And there's a guy there called Takeshi, and he says, right, well, and he's like the second in command to the
Takahashi.
Sorry, Takahashi.
I wrote that down.
I'm glad you did.
These are notes I make. You make all the important notes. I just go. His name was Takahashi.
His name was Takahashi. but he becomes a very important figure in the story anyway. Yeah. But he says, why don't you come with me? And he's like, oh well, I'm very busy. I can't possibly come. And he's like, well, you know, you're probably going to get me killed.
So he beats the shit out of him in the toilet.
He does,
which is my favourite bit of the film.
Yeah, it's great.
But. So he
agrees to eventually go, doesn't he, to Okinawa.
So he goes to Okinawa and he meets this young boy and he trains him in the art of karate. And then, oh no, shit, that's a wrong film. So, he ends up going to Okinawa.
To be fair, that could be any other Japanese film or American film.
When he gets there, he realises by talking to the other gang who they've gone to, there's meant to be this gang, the Anan clan.
Yeah, the Anan and the other one.
The other fellas.
It's kind of,
the Nakamatsu is the clan he's in.
That's right.
And he's sensed, because this Anan clan's taken over. But when he gets there, the fella's like smoking his little ciggy going, what are you on about there, fella?
Yeah.
I don't even know. They just said something and we said, nah, it's all right. And that was it.
We let it go.
And he's like,
So yeah, there's these 2 rival gangs that there's been bad blood for a while apparently, and they're being sent as a kind of peacefully negotiate terms, not to kill, not to murder. Literally, they're just going as kind of a peaceful treaty, or
So the first thing is, bullet comes through the window, so it's like, there is something going on. But then he finds out there isn't. So all these guys go, right, there's something funny going on here against us. Let's go and chill out on the beach for a couple of weeks.
Well, what happens is they're all just in this building. It's like, we don't really use this building, but it'll be fine. It's like, it's not very clean.
Here's a pink bag of guns.
Yeah, and they're kind of like, what the fuck? Here's the weaponry. Because I thought when they revealed the weaponry, I thought
it fired from the bag.
Yeah, it fired. That's what I thought.
This is what the whole film is very confusing.
Yeah,
for the editing wise, and it's like he puts the gun bag on the table, and then bang, the window goes, and they all just nobody's facial features change at all in this film. So as miserable as they look when they walk in the room, a gun goes off. And no one's shocked or anything. They just go, what was that?
Yeah.
They've just shot through the window at us.
Apparently, like, Kitano's obviously very aware of this. He made, like, a choice, especially his character. I think he says, he only has 3 expressions. Like a smile, this kind of bemusement look, and I think him being kind of sad. I'll be honest, I struggled to notice the 3rd look. I think it was mostly the 2.
Yeah. The smile was the he's got his facial muscles.
But so what happens is that place, I think they go out for a drink, don't they? They go out to a bar or they go somewhere, and then it gets blown up.
Yeah.
And then a few of them have died.
That's like much later on.
Yeah, and that's when they go to the beach, though, because they go, right, we're in danger, we need to go on the lam, we need to be safe. Yeah. So that's when they go to the beach, and that's where the majority of the film kind of takes place.
Because that bit where it's blown up, again, coming back to the editing bit,
a bit confusing,
is 10 minutes earlier, the two of their guys go to their to the Anand's place with a grenade,
and it looks identical as well. I thought initially that it was their own gang blowing up themselves to betray. The guy was hired by like the big boss to betray the what's the gang again that the Murakawa's in? You just said it. Yeah, just said it. I've already forgotten. Nakamatsu. Yeah. So I thought like he was like he was betraying them, his own gang, because the boss had told him to.
Because he throws a grenade. It doesn't go off, and he goes, "Oh, the Americans had me off again."
Yeah.
And so they go. Like 10 minutes of the film comes, and then basically you're just in an office block again with those guys who are all dressed the same. So you're thinking, which gang's this now? Where did they throw that? Because the grenade goes off.
Yeah.
But you don't hear it coming through a window. I thought it was a delay
on the same one, so that's why I thought it was him betraying, but actually it's the other way around.
So I thought it was quite comical. That was like, oh my god, that grenade's just gone off 10 minutes later, like, you know.
Oh, there's a lot of kind of dark humour in the film. Like one of my favourite bits is when they're getting the gang together and they bring in all these really young kind of snot-nosed Yakuza and they're like, you know, they look like and again, they're all dressed like I love how it's almost like a deconstruction of the Yakuza film. Yeah. Like it's almost like the Watchmen to the superhero genre in a way, because it's like you expect the Yakuza to have like these long dusters, or you expect them to have the suits on, the sunglasses, and like a samurai sword and like an Uzi or something. That's like the stereotypical version of that. And they're all dressed like they're going on their summer holidays. They're in shorts, t-shirts. They're going in a little minivan to the beach. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really interesting, but one of my favorite bits is like all the youngsters come in and this guy's like, ugh, you know, you're all young, you're all really, you know, you're all green, and he's like, oh well, fuck you, and he's like, oh, no, fuck you, and then one of the young ones just stabs him in the belly, and he's like, oh, and the boss is there just going like, this is just standard, boring. It's like a day job to them.
I said it's literally the cinematic. It's cinematic depression. It is visualized depression. If you suffer from mental health issues, this is the film that just encapsulates how you feel during the day. Yeah. Just looking at, just not even, whatever.
Yeah,
he's just been stabbed in the stomach. Yeah.
It's just this is part and parcel of
like
their life.
When they go away and they get to the bus. So it's this like gang of 6 or however many there is. And the fella goes, come on, we got drinks and ice cream and stuff on board. And they get on this bus. And literally a good chunk of film is the bus driving through the car park, like turning right, and it's like 3 minutes of just a bus trying to manoeuvre.
And it's from like the position like you're sat in the back of the bus.
Yeah. So it's like being on holiday when you get on holiday and go, ooh, this is nice, isn't it?
It reminded me like when me and Dennis went to Malta and we were like, Ron Mars was sat at the front of the bus.
It's really weird.
And then Dennis is trying to stop himself from shitting himself because he's that ill, and there's me just like trying to be like the positive person in the bus, like, this is going to be great.
And then it basically looks back at the bus and you've got this guy, one of the Yakuza's now eating his ice lolly with a big smile on his face, and you've got the fella who stabbed the other fella in the stomach sat next to each other, and he turns around and goes, do you want a drink? And he goes, no, my stomach's still killing me from where you stabbed me in it before.
I loved it. This is just something like, it's so like standard,
so mundane. It's like
mundane, like it's really boring. Like there are moments of extreme violence in it, and they come absolutely out of fucking nowhere.
It's like if The Office was made about the Yakuza.
Yeah.
It's like, all you needed was one fella just stare at the camera like,
yeah. You just every so often just like,
yeah, look at the camera like, what's going on here?
But yeah, there's like like I genuinely jumped a couple of times when the violence comes because you have these long kind of. I don't think it's a boring film because it kept my attention and it held my attention during these kind of long, slow moments. You know,
there's very much a lot of scenes.
It's a slow burn of a film.
There's a lot of scenes that you're thinking, is this going to end? Because it's literally, they're not saying anything, they're not doing it. It's almost like you're looking at a still.
I was gonna say that.
So it's like, you know, those apps now where it animates a still like in 3D animated kind of thing. It's almost like
singing.
That, where it's just like the background moves and you think, is anyone going to do anything here? And it's like, no, they could have just cut that.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say Takeshi Katana himself is a painter, and I think you can see that a lot in the way he frames everything and the way he holds on certain still images and certain aspects of the film. And from what I've read from the interviews, he leaves a lot of it up to your interpretation.
Yeah, well, I've read about this as well, as he basically started the film with the four scenes. So basically them telling him he's got to go to Okinawa, them going to Okinawa, the big scene later on, and then the end, which is quite famous now anyway.
Yeah, of course.
But and then all in between that, he just lets it happen as it kind of comes, and it's like, yeah, you can pretty much tell that.
Yeah, I'd say it's a very nihilistic film. Like there is, because they are so like, it's such like we said, that it makes being a Yakuza look like unexciting, boring, dull. It looks like a day job, and it is a day job for them. There's
a scene where they're waiting. I think it might be where they're waiting for the bus, and it's almost like the poster for his Vida's Aim Pet. It's just these four suited guys going, looking for a job, kind of thing. Bored as fuck. Like,
nobody's in a suit. Like, they're all in bloody shorts and t-shirts, and like completely take the piss out of each other as well. Yeah. And the title is quite an interesting title because it's a musical term, and it comes from like sonatas, sonatina. Yeah, my very first episode was the last time I mentioned sonatas. So
sonatas,
sonatas, whatever the fuck they're called. So I was doing Phantom of the Paradise, and obviously he's always like, "Where's the sonata?" I need the sonata, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard that word before, but carry on. But it's basically it's a point in the music where you have to make a choice where you want to go. It's kind of a crossroad. To simplify it as much as I can.
Yeah. So it's when a sonata obviously is I think it's a cantata or something, is the voice.
Yeah.
And a sonata is just music. So a sonatina is a small snippet of that music kind of thing. So when you're a student of music, and I think Takeshi was a piano student or something, that is the point in your life where you've got to make the choice whether you want to go jazz, piano,
yeah, exactly.
or
stylistically, you have to make a decision. You've got the basics. Yeah. Where do you
crossroads?
Go? Exactly, much like the character in
this.
It's
very clever when you think about it.
Yeah, because at the start of the film, he's very bored. He threatens somebody, and he's like, you better give us the money. And he's like, well, I'm not giving you the money. You're a Yakuza. And he's like, no, you're acting like a Yakuza. You're a stupid thing. Yeah.
It's literally a stupid thing as well.
He was like, this is a stupid thing. He was like, no, you're the stupid thing. And that's where they're kind of like, it's a black comedy as well.
But then that's at the very beginning. That's the first scene that I was talking about before, where he's supposed to be this like doing really well business guy, Yakuza guy.
Yeah,
slap business.
I mean, but
this fella just goes, "You're stupid," and he goes, "No, you are," and that's it. He walks off. There's no he doesn't just pop him full of leather or anything. It's like,
because you expect that he's going to like beat him up or stab him or shoot him or something.
He just looks at him nonchalantly and goes, "Yeah, right," and gets off.
Because he knows what's coming, because he knows, he's like, I'll get you next week. I'll catch you next week. I know where you work. I know where you live. I'll just come and grab you whenever. Like, he knows what's happening. And again, they're like,
he does get him, doesn't he?
Oh, he does, yeah. And he has to. He dips, like, he's got this massive crane, and he's like got him tied to the crane. He dips him into the water. He's like, so how long can people hold the breath? He's like, 2 minutes or so. He's like, right, put him in for 2 minutes.
It said 2 minutes, and I was like, I couldn't hold my breath for 2 minutes.
I was like, I'm asthmatic, fucking hell.
And then as it stunk in, I thought, surely you'd start floating. There's nothing heavy on that to keep him underwater.
True, that is a point. I was
really overthinking it.
His feet just come up in front of him. And just...
I was overthinking everything at this point, trying to see the art in this, you know what I mean? Yeah. Thinking, Tarantino and everyone raves on about this film. All the critics love this film. What is that missing here?
Yeah. But
See, I'm just a simple man. I watch a film just for watching a film's sake.
Yeah.
I think, that's about guns. I'll watch that.
I love that guns.
But then watch this and thinking.
Now when me and Andy were looking at Kinji Fukasaku's work, who kind of changed the genre of kind of Yakuza films, because initially there were this kind of Robin Hood style honourable thief, like back in the day of Akira Kurosawa and stuff. But when Kinji Fukasaku came in, he had like a steady cam, and there was loads of violence and stuff, and it was always really fast and frenetic. Very much like what's his name? William Friedkin's a big fan of him, and kind of influenced or French Connection influenced that, or the other way around, whatever. But the problem we had with it was that we couldn't make fucking sense of it because it was just moving so quickly. They'd introduce a character. It was like a slasher movie. They introduced a character only to kill them off. Yeah. And they come up with this big, and they use the musical cue that I think they use in Kill Bill, and they have their name, and it's based in reality. It's based on truth. It's like almost like a mockumentary, almost sort of thing. And there's a lot of mockumentary elements to it. But we didn't enjoy those movies because it was too much, but it was meant to be. It was meant to shake things up and be dramatic. So this, for me, was a really nice change of pace because this I like, even though like the characters don't really get named. They don't get like they don't go, oh, Morikawa. There's 2 or 3 names you remember, like Takahashi and Morikawa, and even the female that he saves in it doesn't really get named. But
she was called Miyuki.
Miyuki. I'm glad you got all the names.
Yeah. That's it. That's the 3 names.
You've got them.
The 3 main names. Like
you got it.
Bill and Ben and all them ones who get. I didn't get them.
No, fair enough.
But I don't recall them ever being given a name.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
It's almost like their fodder though, because
one of them was Steve.
Steve, Ben,
Steve,
Chad.
Chad was the assassin.
But it kind of is that is just they live with death like day in day out. Like any of them could die, and like you see that with Morikawa, like the famous Russian roulette scene is hilarious and yet chilling all at the same time. And I think that's what this film is all about. Is you have this kind of absurdist humor, but then it's kind of balanced with this nihilistic kind of depressing.
I think that works because the 2 young guys are on the beach shooting cans off each other's heads. That's how bored they are. And he comes down. He's like, "Yeah, let's do Russian roulette then." And they're like,
"Okay, yeah, it's funny."
Yeah, that's your turn again. He's like, "No, there's only 1 chamber left." And it's like, "Oh, you haven't put a bullet in it. Oh, what a smashing wheeze that was."
But it grabs you, it holds you, and you're like, because when they get to, it's almost like it is kind of a bit of a holiday for Morikawa and the other characters because they live this very intense, deadly life, and then on this instance, they're like this. They kind of have a break. They kind of have a holiday from it, and that's when they start opening up. They start bonding. They start coming up with loads of different games and things to play. Like they got the little. I love the little paper sumo thing that they do. They make a little paper sumo set and they do the vibrations and the kind of little paper sumos move, and then they decide to do it in real life, and they're all like banging the ground, and 2 of them are just hopping about. Which it's fun and sweet.
And then they start doing the hot potato thing with the hands, but it's in super speed.
Yeah, it's like almost like a Macarena, like a first
speeded up film, and it's like they're doing that like the end of Grease.
So weird, and I kind of like that though. And you kind of start
little bits of humor that get just like put in like this proper. And again, it is almost like, I mean, Takeshi went on I think a year after this. It is like because he wrote it and everything. Yeah, it's like
he wrote, edited, directed, and starred.
Yeah, he did the lot, and it's kind of like almost an insight into his mind at the time where. There was nothing. He was just miserable because the whole film's miserable.
Absolutely,
that's the best way of describing it. It's like a miserable thing, and then all of a sudden, it's like a light moment.
Yeah,
like pop up, and then miserable, and then another,
and then extreme violence, like really extreme.
So it's all very much that those different feelings are just smashed. It's like pumping along, just bubbling under, and then it goes. Something happens, so it's either like a funny moment or the violence.
Yeah.
And then it's just back to I'm so bored. Yeah. And the faces look so miserable all the time. And it's like, this is how life as a Yakuza would be. Because you've seen some shit, man.
Yeah.
So, but a year after this, he was involved in Takeshi was involved in a motorbike accident or a scooter accident, I believe. And he said it was probably an unconscious suicide attempt. That's why he's got facial paralysis.
Yeah, now. Partial facial paralysis
because of this accident.
Yeah.
And he said so when you think about that film, it probably exactly like the end. Don't know. Basically, the ending is
spoilers.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler.
If you haven't seen the film, go and watch it.
Go and watch it now.
Back.
This is spoilers. Spoilerific.
You've got 2 seconds. Okay, we're back. Yeah. So he shoots himself in the head in the car. So it's quite a famous. It's a reflection of the
the roulette
the
scene.
imagination Russian roulette scene he has after he's done the Russian. He has like a dream about it.
Yeah.
So it's like that whole suicide thing is probably almost like a cry for help from him at the time. Do you know what I mean? When you watch the film, it is. I could just see that it was almost like depression.
Yeah.
Do you know, like it is that feeling of like how your mind would work. It's just like mundane. But something happens.
Yeah. And you'll have those brief periods of levity, and then you'll go, to be honest, like there's been some days during lockdown where I've been like, fuck, there's like days where I felt like fucking Sonatine, and you're like, not to the the extreme end, but like just days where you're like, I'm doing a thing, but I'm just doing the thing. He sees this extreme violence. Like he saves a young woman from a sexual assault, rape. But he watches it. He just watches it. He's got no reaction, and he only saves her because he walks past, and the guy's like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
It's a great scene, that, because the guy, you basically see the lights coming. He's just chilling out having a ciggy on the beach.
Yeah.
Then you see these lights come over. Lovely. It's all shot lovely as well, these bits. Yeah. And then this guy drags this woman on the rape victim.
Yeah.
There's a Miyuki, I think she was called.
Yeah, Miyuki, yeah.
And he's just watching them, like, that face of just...
Yeah, just the bemusement.
Just totally
bemused.
Then he just carries on walking. And the guy comes over to him like, "What's that? Are you some kind of pervert? Like, you like watching other people and all this stuff." And he's just like, "Go away." And then so the fellow's like squares up to him, so he just butts him, drops him with a butt, and then, so it's hilarious. It's not funny. Hilarious. It's really violent. But he stands up.
But it's funny though, the way it's done and the way it's
comically timed.
There is comic timing, and like there's even
because he stands up with a knife. Yeah. The guy who's just nutted, and he goes, "I'm going to cut your throat, man. I'm going to cut your throat." So he just, bang, bang. And he just shot him twice in the gut. And he goes, "I wasn't really going to do it.
I'm sorry.
I was only messing."
Oh, God. Yeah, I fucking forgot about that. That was brilliant. I forgot how funny that was.
And then the woman who's just been raped is just basically sat there looking at him like that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
But so she basically joins him for the
she like basically becomes his companion.
Yeah,
but it's not even like, it's not necessarily like romantic that much. No. It's kind of more like, I think maybe it's romantic for her, but for him it's like, because she said, "Oh, you're a tough guy. I like tough guys, and I like, she likes him." She's like, "How did you kill? When was your first kill? And who was it?" He was like, "My dad." And he was like, "Why did you kill your dad?" He was like, wouldn't let me fuck." It's like, okay. And he's making these jokes, and you see the smile, but it's almost like there's a vacancy to the smile as well. It's almost like, I'm making a joke, but I'm like, I'm not there. Like there's a blankness to the eyes.
But to anyone who's listened to any of my previous appearances, my wife walked in at exactly that
every time. I don't know how she does it.
It's like a radar. She just walked in and went, It's because she was in the garden, like doing potting plants or some weird stuff she likes to do. And I'm sat in there watching Sonatine, and she went, "Watching porn again." It's like, this is the first time. And then so she went out.
And it's like, that's the only bit of nudity in the whole film.
There's two bits.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. So basically the rape scene is where you can't really see the nudity, but it's a rape scene.
Yeah.
So she, and
it's
then
very dark.
But later on, when they get caught in the rain, when they're making friends,
she
just takes her top off.
Yeah.
And it's just the boobs are on the screen, and he goes, "Oh, you don't mind getting your tits out, do you?" And all this stuff, and she's laughing.
Yeah, it's like
literally that's the only other part of the film. She walked in again and went, "Oh."
He goes like, "Oh, indecent exposure can be fun," but then it's not implied that he's gonna have sex with her. I mean, obviously she wants to have sex with him. It's quite clear, but it's not implied that he does or he doesn't. It's kind of like, because you would,
it's just literally like two mates, and and he's messing about.
Like, you just got your tits out. Yeah. Brilliant.
not scared of getting your tits out. Nice one, with a big smile on his face.
Exactly, and
she's like, "Oh,
it's fascinating."
My top just blew off in the wind.
Speaking of like car crashes as well, he's like driving along. He's like, "I'm not very good at driving," and then all of a sudden he just fucking crashes, which I guess is kind of prevalent to him actually fucking crashing in real life as well. Like
it is when you think about it, like with looking back on it, kind of thing. From that, it is.
Yeah, it's a little darker.
A few things,
but sometimes that people's emotional state or bad things or bad circumstances can lead to like better art and to greater, success in some situations. Obviously, it's shit that people have to go through certain things and and that affects them, but fucking hell, if you can get an amazing piece of art out of it that can transcend and it's immortalized,
win awards.
You look at people like there's many troubled directors and stuff, and
most songwriters.
Yeah, songwriters. And they've all one-hit wonders and stuff. Yeah. But like look at like Sam Peckinpah and people like that were like proper drunks and probably not the nicest of people. Even fucking Roman Polanski, not a fucking nice guy at all, or Woody Allen, not a fucking nice guy at all. But they made good films. Kevin Spacey made good films.
Tarantino likes his feet.
He does like his feet.
Never know what's coming for that dude.
He's chopped so many feet off. Who knows? This is going to age really poorly when we find out he's a fucking serial murderer.
Hello, yeah. So remember the date.
Remember the date.
We called it.
At the time of recording.
Because everyone mentions Tarantino when, especially for like Japanese films and stuff. It's like, this is one of Tarantino's favourites.
Yeah.
I wonder if that'll get mentioned when it comes out that he's a proper pure foot fetishist in the future.
they were like, have you seen Sonatine now?
70,000 feet found in his basement. Of course, we don't think that's about Mr. Tarantino. I'm sure he's a lovely man.
Yeah, I like Tarantino. All the films that he tends to recommend, I tend to like as well. Which much like this.
Yes. His body of work is most good. Always ends at the feet.
This is actually part of a trilogy that Takeshi made as well. A Yakuza trilogy, I guess you would call it. Very early on in his career.
Boiling Point, one of them.
Yeah, Boiling Point, and because I think we were going to do Boiling Point, and then I think I changed my mind to do Sonatine.
Yeah, nice one for that.
Yeah. Would you like Boiling? Have you seen Boiling Point? Do you like Boiling Point?
I've seen most.
You've seen most.
The thing is, I'm old, but I've seen most of these, and
in the day
you remember them as being good, and then you rewatch them and go,
things change. Things change. Interesting. You're a different person now, so opinions do change.
Literally.
What's the other film? Violent Cop.
Yeah, that's we should have done that one with Maniac Cop.
Yeah, Maniac Cop.
All the cop films.
All the cops. Psycho Cop. Samurai Cop. Do all the cop films.
And then finished it with Time Cop.
Time Cop.
The best one of them all.
But yeah. In fact, it was Cannes Film Festival where this started getting like traction, and like Tarantino saw it, and I think it was Thunder Road Pictures. I think he wanted to distribute it in America because, like Takeshi said, well, it was really nice he did that because I consider this film a lost classic. In Japan, nobody went to see it because they expected the usual kind of Yakuza film, like the Kinji Fukasaku ones, which again are good in their own right, but they're different.
And they didn't really see him as an actor either.
No, they see him as a comedian because he's a jokester. He had the Craig Charles role. When I used to watch as a kid Takeshi's Castle, I always thought the guy at the end, in the general outfit, I always thought, oh, that's Takeshi. Yeah. But actually, Takeshi was like the king or the ruler, and he would make jokey comments like Craig Charles did in the English version. So Craig Charles probably would have been called Craig Charles Castle, really. But he would, he was in character, but would obviously make fun of the. But yeah, he's a comedian, and I think there's a lot of comedic actors that will always sometimes struggle, or either that, or you'll be really surprised by a performance, like a Steve Carell when he does like Foxcatcher or something like
when
that.
Jim Carrey did his first drama roles, I think people were surprised.
Yeah, but then also people expect a certain thing from a certain actor. Like with Jim Carrey, you're like, he's funny, he's the funny guy. Oh, this film would be funny. Number 23, I'm sure it's really funny. Something like that. Something fucking, Eternal Sunshine on Spotless Mind. I bet this is a laugh a minute. It fucking isn't.
And yes, he's very good.
He's very good in them. But yeah, that's the thing. What do you think of the music?
Well, I'd heard a lot about the music because it's I think it won the Oscar, didn't it?
It won a Japanese Academy Award for Joe Hisaishi.
I'll be honest, I don't even remember it.
Don't you not remember the steel drums?
Yeah, I remember it, but it didn't
stick with you.
No, I think at one point, my missus actually when she came in, actually went, "What's with the music?" So
that's that shit.
That says it all. But I think the film is that like. I don't know. It probably will.
It's not a lot of music.
Merges, in it. Yeah. I think it probably merges into it. I think it'd be good to listen to
on its own
as the soundtrack, but when it's in the film, I think the films are depressing. It didn't go in.
Didn't come in. Well, the same composer, when he wasn't really doing these kind of films, he pretty much scored all of the Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah.
So, like, he's clearly a good composer. Because I always remember the movie, you know, Princess Mononoke, My Neighbor Totoro. You know, you always remember the music from those and the visuals. But yeah, obviously does well and does some good work.
But again, as I say, as I mentioned before, I kind of just watch films.
You're more about the entertainment and the escapism.
Wash into me, and then if it's like a soundtrack with, so like it's got like rock music in it or something, like we were discussing like Demons before. You know,
bit of Saxon.
Anything when a bit of Saxon pops in, you go, "Oh, wasn't expecting that," and it works. You think, or a bit of like, you know, you can't beat a bit of Scorpions halfway through a film, but.
Bit of Go West.
But, yeah, but unless it's a specific, like recently, the Saint Maud, the soundtrack to that and the score is such a part, a really important part of the film. You do notice it.
Yeah.
And like
it's another character.
Yeah. But when it's just a kind of like not, I don't really.
I will say this.
I don't pay that much attention.
I will say this. There were some moments where the sound I thought was really poor.
Yeah.
There's a moment as well. I think they dubbed it in, but there's nobody talking.
I was surprised it was 93.
Yeah, 93.
Because it seems older.
Yeah, maybe late 80s or something, like 88.
It seems
89.
like a. It's almost like now, if it was an English or a Western film, it would be a low budget student film.
Yeah,
it'd be somebody's first film.
It's kind of art house, isn't it?
It's very like one camera, put like somebody just sat on a couch, not doing anything.
Yeah,
and then it'll cut to him sat on a different couch, not doing anything. Yeah. And then someone will say something.
It is a lot of like random stuff, like all the games and stuff they play, like when they're doing the dancing, when they're shooting the fireworks off at each other.
Yeah, that the whole. He's like a geisha, isn't he? That
fella?
Almost. He's with his little. And then he's
got these little castanets.
And one of the fellas goes, "What the fuck are you doing?" And he goes, "Shut up. You dance as well." He's like,
"Come and dance."
No,
I'm not doing that. Yeah. And then there's that bit with a little action figure who's like trying to be like a jealous girlfriend, and he's like, and the guy's trying to read, and like there is what I do like as well. It kind of gets rid of all that kind of macho bullshit.
Yeah.
That's in a lot of these kind of gangster movies, like Italian or
I think the
Japanese.
It's funny because the young guys in it are almost a bit more macho, and the older guys are just like, "What the fuck are you doing all that for? Let's just
stop showing off."
So they start having a bit of a laugh
as well
as start pranking each other and all that stuff, you know.
And there's like one guy that's like smokes weed and he's trying to bond with this one guy and he's like, "Oh, I bet you live."
That's a brilliant line. That's an absolutely fucking brilliant line.
He's like, "Oh, you live there?" And he's like, "Yeah. Do you know this place?" "Yeah, I never go." "Yeah. You must know this person." "No, I told you I never go there." "Oh, but you know you're in the area." "What the fuck are you talking about?"
And then he goes, what are you smoking?" And he goes, "Marijuana." And he goes, "Oh, I don't do drugs, only amphetamines." It's just fucking brilliant. Some great, absolutely spot on. Like one line.
And again, like
I don't do drugs, just amphetamines.
like if there was no humor in this, I would hate it.
Yeah.
Like, I would absolutely. If it was just bleak. Like there's some films that are bleak, and I quite enjoy them for their bleakness and stuff. Yeah. But I think with this one, it's just again, it would be art house bleak. And I don't think I would...
Kafkaesque.
Yeah, it would be a bit too much. And then the shocking violence obviously would like...
The Kafkaesque popped into my head when I was watching the bit where they're on the bus.
Oh, yeah.
And it's basically... It was almost like a 1970s... You know those films you used to watch in school about... Here's what happens when you go on holiday. And it was like just from a passenger's eye view of the bus driver. Yeah. Just going through a car park. Like, here's what's happened. Here's how you get on a ferry.
Make sure you pay the ticket.
That was what it was like. And I was just thinking, Jesus wept. And they all looked just so miserable. And then this guy's just stood there with his little blue ice lolly.
Oh, so what an ice lolly?
This is the best thing I've ever had. Do you want a drink? No, my stomach's sore from where you stabbed me.
But yeah, it does. Like I love that it kind of smashes that macho preconception, but also the preconceptions of what a Yakuza is, how they should act, how they should be. Because this is
not walking around with all the tattoos on show and all that. Like
I'll be honest, I don't know where they get all the fucking bullets from as well, because they seem to have an unlimited supply of fucking ammunition in this. Not that the guns go off that much, but when they do, you're like...
It's for fun.
Yeah, it's like shooting cans off each other, you know. Yeah. And when he gives Miki the machine gun, she's like, and again, like
pure Rambo.
And again, like she's just going like, and it's like an M16, isn't it? So she's just going, dug, 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 dug. And again, like it's like it doesn't mean anything to him. Like you could be laughing or having fun with this, and he's just like, it's just a gun going off.
Yeah, it's just that face.
It's just standard.
Face doesn't change.
Nothing. This does nothing for me. Yeah. This is still because it's you know they all know that like death is coming. And he even says that in the car. He was like, you know, I'm not scared of anything because she's like going back to the macho thing. She's like, I bet you're a tough guy. I bet you're not scared of anything. I love that. He's like, I'm scared of everything. I'm scared every day. I just don't fucking care anymore. It's just this is it. This is my life. It's just I could be killed at any second by anybody, somebody. You know, like that guy goes up and stabs the other guy. You know, anything could happen. Like bombs could go off. They're constantly living in preparation for death.
And then it starts coming for them because you start getting picked off one by one.
Yeah, there's a hat assassin, as I like to call him, with his big. He looks like a fucking beekeeper or something, doesn't it? A massive
that's
hat.
the old Ronin used to wear them in the old samurai films, didn't they? So they had the straw hats.
Yeah, very much so.
I think they used to go around like being the for hire assassons for hire.
And again, there's loads of just shots of him just fucking wandering about, just milling about places.
But the scene where I think it's Ian Anklam, the leader, has decided to give up.
Yeah, he's like, I'm going to retire.
Yeah,
my wife's having a baby.
And it's a really badly edited bit because his two mates are like leaning against a car.
Yeah.
And his girl's next to him. And then all of a sudden, they're all stood, but they all get shot. Not one of the no facial expression change again. No shock that the mate is getting shot in front of them. The fella behind him gets killed, and then he gets shot. And all three of the faces just stay like, nah, whatever. Yeah. And then they just die. And then his missus just stood there like that. Yeah, they're all dead.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Because he's disguised as a fisherman, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he just walks off with his like butty box and his big rifle bag.
Yeah, no, I agree, because they're not stood together. They're not stood in a fucking line either. Nobody naturally stands like that. Yeah. Just all standing side by side against this cornfield.
Yeah, they're all stood there.
And also the woman isn't in the shot either, so it's kind of
the woman's next to him.
Yeah.
And there's two guys are leaning against a car opposite.
Yeah.
And then the gunshots go off and they're all stood in a line where they're just looking sideways at them and none of the faces change. It's like, is this an imagination thing?
Yeah.
Is this in his mind? Is he just dreaming all this while he sat in the car at the end? Is this all being a little bit of his imagination?
Yeah. It's all a dream.
And like when you go, he decides, doesn't he? Basically, he decides he's got to take the fight to the clan.
Well, he finds out that basically what he thought was going to happen was correct. Yeah. The big boss is trying to get rid of him and take his turf, basically, because it's really lucrative.
Takahashi comes back, doesn't he?
Yeah.
That's how he finds out, by shooting him in the legs. Another great comic scene there as well.
Oh, amazing.
He's basically in the car saying to him, what's going on? He's going, I'm not going to tell you. So he shoots him in the legs.
Yeah.
And then he tells him, and then he just shoots him again for the laugh. Put in the leg, and then he goes up to the young guy and goes, do you want to go?
Yeah.
And the fella goes, no, not with the gun. He goes into the boot, gets a grenade out the boot, just throws a grenade into the back of the car and walks off. The grenade works this time.
Yeah. Well, he throws it in, the guy tries to get out, kicks the door at the guy's leg, and he's like, ah, and then it blows up the car.
And then he goes, are we going to get home? And he goes, oh yeah, shit.
We're going to have to walk now. He's like,
and he just goes, oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Blowing shit out of the car.
I love there's very much like a brotherhood that's built in by this group. You know, again, they're all from kind of different areas, different like walks of life. They're all in the Yakuza, but you kind of get the sense, even though it's almost like
they become a family.
But
while they're there,
yeah. But it also doesn't matter who they were or are.
Yeah.
That's almost why he doesn't name them, because the names don't matter. It's the feeling.
And even she's become one of them, hasn't she?
Yeah. And again, we don't learn. I don't think her name is spoken in the film either. No. Obviously the characters are named in the script and on IMDb and stuff, but in the film they don't go, oh, such and such a name, welcome. No, you don't get that introduction.
No.
And it's almost like those details don't matter. The bond they have during this time, the good times they have, is what you're going to be remembered for, and the times you shared, and the
a bit like the end of Bugsy Malone.
Yeah, definitely.
You could have been anything that you wanted to.
But I think in like if we're talking about like depression and stuff, I think those are the memories you would want to hold on to, and the bond and the friendship. The details and the where the fuck you met, what time it was, what fucking time of year it was.
I'm pretty sure it's not something connected to the film. No other critics have said like, it's a look into depression. But to me, that's how it felt.
I agree though. I see that as well. Yeah. Like I definitely, there's moments where I'm like, fuck yeah, that rings a bell, or I remember somebody who was a bit like this, or or I felt like you're on a fucking night out and people are like, yeah, have a fucking drink, and you're just like. Yeah, and you kind of you bringing the fucking vibe down, and you're like, maybe I should just fucking go home. But then when you drink more, you're already in a bad state, and then you keep drinking, it's only going to make you worse. So I'm like, fuck, I really shouldn't have drunk.
And then you just disappear,
and then you're just like, fucking hate everything or something. But yeah, I can absolutely, I 100% agree with you. I 100% see it. Like, but again, it's like I know it wasn't you weren't that keen on it, but I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it.
Yeah, it's one of them. I wasn't not keen on it, but it is a long. It's only an hour and a half.
A little hour and 35.
I think it was 20 minutes in, and thought I'd been watching it for about an hour. It's one of them. As I say, it's not like laboured.
Yeah,
a 3-minute section can just be someone sat.
But like
when they walk onto the beach, it's a good minute of just two guys just walking onto a beach, and it's like that could have been something could be happening, or something could be said.
Could spare something.
There's a lot of just mundanity about it all, which is I think what obviously
that's the point.
That's the point of
exactly. That's the point. And a lot of apparently that's that's probably why it didn't do so well, because they were expecting the bombastic, action-filled, excitement of these kind of previous films, and that's not what he was about. That's not his thing. But it does work for me. It does work as a film.
Yeah,
and it does. I get like, again, he wants it to be up to your interpretation, and again, this is our interpretation of it. I like the depth that it goes into and the approach it has. That kind of nihilistic property as well. Like when there's a shootout.
Well, this is what we're going to come to now.
Yeah,
basically he goes to the hotel room. He goes up to in the lift, and the guy's not there. So they're in the lift, and then that Takahashi gets in, and that's when he realizes, kind of thing. It's like, and he goes, Takahashi, what the fuck are you doing here, kind of thing. And then a gunfight starts in a fucking lift
with innocent people in it as well.
Yeah, nobody's face changes. Nobody looks surprised. No one looks like the ears are hurting because there's fucking gunshots going off in a lift. And it's like they just it's like in the bar earlier on,
as well.
The first shootout. There's no like they just stand there, matter of factly, just pointing guns at each other, shooting, pumping bullets. They don't. No one's scared. No one's
ducks
trying
for
to
cover.
get out the way.
Yeah, no one ducks for cover. No one reloads or anything.
No one in the bar looks.
It's just like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah,
and I kind of almost see like.
It's like on your 15th run through of Resident Evil, where you know what you've got to do on the boss.
And
you're just like, oh fuck's sake, just die.
Here we go. I have to shoot him like how many times? 20 times? Yeah, that'll do it.
That's.
But it's kind of almost like I think it's kind of almost like an honourable thing to cower and to show fear and to be like, oh, go behind cover. That's very Western.
But that's what I mean. Not even the public in the lift or anyone who's not involved in it get out the way or look scared. Everyone just
scream. No one screams.
This shit happens.
It's just like bam, bam, bam. And even like when they think they're dead, and he's like they're still like pulling another gun out or trying to get up.
Still shoots his mate, and he just lets he doesn't go, well, hang on, he's pulling the gun here and shoots him. It's like lets him shoot the guy stood next to him first, and then go, all right, then I'll shoot you now.
But it's kind of like they want to die because they've had to live with death constantly.
It is, and that's what brings me back to the whole depression.
Yeah,
like everyone's just so like, oh,
doesn't matter. If I die, I die. Yeah. It's kind of like that's just it. I'm not like, oh, I've not lived my life to the fullest. Yeah. It's like
it's probably not a film to watch if you're feeling a bit.
Oh, absolutely not. No, you want a good mental health day before watching this. I was like, yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It's not one of them, but yeah, it's there is something about it. It's very unique and it's interesting. I
some of the visuals in it are lovely as well. So it's like basically goes to this hotel and he finds out where the guy is, the main man, and he organises it so the electricity will go off at a certain time. And he just goes in.
I don't know how he does that, though. I have no fucking... Because he just walks in there and he's like, what are you doing? There's an electrician. He's like, what are you doing here? He's, oh, nothing. And he's like, yeah, all the lights will... And the lights go off like, dun, 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 one by one, which I loved. Really loved that. But I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Realistically.
Skills.
And while not even being in the building.
And then it's just like fucking gunfire erupts everywhere, and you see like just the flashes in the pitch black, and you see people's faces. Again, just... Like it's
blank
mundane,
expression,
every blank expression daily, but that is really visually stunning. Like,
yeah, so you just see the flashes and you hear, and then you go in, and it's kind of like a night vision type thing. It's all the muzzle flash.
If you suffer from epilepsy, don't.
Oh fuck no! Yeah,
you need a flash warning before that bit.
Yeah, I was surprised at that. I was like, oh fucking hell, this definitely needs.
Yeah, it's very stroby.
Yeah, it was a little stroby for me, but it's fantastic. And again, you don't really see much. It doesn't glorify the violence either. It's never like oh, how cool is this, shooting this fucking gun. No, you're a fucking idiot. And also like nothing is ever like you were saying earlier off the recording about some people not being prepared or doing their jobs properly, or like you rock up somewhere, you're very professional, and you're like and then you get there and no fucker is professional whatsoever. It's like this, like all the stuff they're like, they don't really like plan it out. Like this is the only like time where I see something plan out. A lot of this stuff kind of just happens by accident or happenstance.
Yeah.
Like in that bar, in that initial bar shootout, they come in and they check it out of the place, and they're looking at this one like family in the corner, and they're like, okay, sized them up, and then they're like, yeah, we'll have some beers. And then this other group of lads come in and they're like proper sizing them up because they're like, those look like maybe they could be Yakuza. And then like literally as they've sized them up, they get shot by the family that they already sized up. And it's just mental. Just mental kind of just... And again, it's not like...
They do just all stand up and just start shooting at each other. Straight, no trying to get out the way, no ducking behind cover.
Yeah. And there's none of that like, I'm dying. You know, look after my family. No. It's just like, it's fucking dead.
Matter of fact.
That's it's gone. He's gone. And again, like, they're all kind of... And it's almost like... I mean, obviously the Yakuza boss just thinks they're fucking fodder anyway.
Yeah.
Because you can get all these young lads in anyway. So it doesn't matter. There's a limited supply of lads looking to be powerful and influential and be a Yakuza. So it doesn't matter. And that's why it doesn't matter about the names either.
Yeah, it kind of shows that at the beginning as well. We missed that bit out, really.
Yeah.
There's a lad in that bit where he's going... owes money, and he's like, you're a stupid thing, kind of thing.
Yeah.
There's a lad who's working in the restaurant, or whatever it is.
Yeah, waiter or something,
and he's in the Yakuza, and he goes, why were you there, kind of thing, and he's like, oh, I needed a job, kind of thing. And it's like, and that just shows you the kind of the young lads are just tenner penny.
Fucking idiots as well. Yeah, fucking idiots. And again, but
because he's wearing a band t-shirt, isn't he? In his job, and he's like, dress appropriately.
Yeah, dress like a waiter, dress like a Yakuza.
Like his dad would say, why are you dressed like that? Scruffy get.
But it's weird because they kind of, it's almost like you were saying earlier, it's like the young characters get more mature as the older characters kind of regress and kind of become childlike again and like actually start enjoying themselves and and those games start off quite fucking dark and depressing and deadly, but as it goes on they become lighter and more playful and open and again the characters bond, and it's really lovely to see that in juxtaposition to the Kinji Fukasaku stuff where it's just like, fuck you, you're dead, fuck you, you're dead, fuck you, you betrayed me, fuck you. It's just that's constant. All it is just that. It's like watching a Friday the 13th Part 5 where it's just like, introduce a character, murder them. And like at least with this, like, and again, it tells you everybody's fucking names, but they go so quick and they're introduced so quickly and killed off so quickly, you don't really care. But with this, you kind of, again, it's the bond that makes you care. It doesn't matter who they are, where they're from, like I said, but the bond and the joyous moments they have together is what the film's all about, really. And it's like you said, it's this crossroads going, he could retire and could be happy and he could live on the beach. Yeah. He could live on the beach for the rest of his life. But he knows he has to confront his past. He has to confront who he was. He has to come back. But he could. Like that's why the girl is there, the woman is there, because she's like, come away, we'll run away, we'll do this, we'll live here.
Yeah, as soon as he's done what he's done, that's where he's going to meet her, isn't he?
Yeah.
That's what they're gonna do.
And it literally is like not even that far. It's just over the hill from her. But I think in his head he's going, I don't want that for her.
Yeah.
Like, she obviously likes him, loves him, is interested in him, interested in his world. And it's almost like he's just like, if I go with her, this world is going to follow us. Yeah. One way or another, I'm going to ruin her life. I'm going to give her this problem.
So instead, he just makes her have to clean the blood and his brains out of a car.
Yeah.
Because it's her car, he does it in.
Her husband's car, no less.
So she's going to get in the car later on and he's just like, I'm going to shoot my brains out of it.
I wonder what her husband...
With a big smile on his face.
I wonder what her husband was thinking all this time, because he's fucking always on the beach. Like, he's never going anywhere else.
That's weird.
Yeah. I also love the bit where he's like they're stood on the beach and they're like, and the older guys call the kids over, the younger lads, like, come on, I need to talk to you quick, it's very important. They run over and they've dug these holes and they fall down.
But she falls down one of the holes, and it's just like, she just looks at the camera like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I think she actually says stupid fuckers or something.
Yeah, something like that. But that's during a sequence, isn't it? It's like he's left, and I think she's like, it's almost like,
it's like she's almost coming up to like, I'm fed up with you dickheads.
Yeah, fuck's sake. Yeah, you kids. But it's almost like that's what's going to happen to her if she keeps going down this path, going down this particular crossroads. If she goes down this way,
she's going to fall in a big hole.
She's going to fall and die. And and again, that could be potentially deadly as well. Like, those holes could have spikes in, and it could have easily done it. And again, he probably wouldn't have cared if he put spikes in. If he made it deadly, he wouldn't have cared, because he's in that frame of mind where it doesn't, even though he's got this bond, he could still kill any of them or himself at any given moment, during the film. But yeah, it is fascinating. I do recommend people watch it if you can find a copy. I know there's quite a few. I looked on eBay and there's a lot of kind of cheap DVDs you can get hold of it. So I would definitely recommend watching it just for your own interpretation, what you see.
Is it still
in
on
it.
Any of the streaming?
I don't think so. There's on Arrow. There is Takeshi Katana films like Hanabi. It's also known as Fireworks, I think, and a few other of his films. But Sonatine is not currently on there. Neither is Boiling Point. Neither is Violent Cop. But more of his other kind of stuff. But apparently Hanabi is very similar to Sonatine. So not entirely sure what that one's about myself. But apparently that was the one that kind of broke big in Japan, I think.
Right.
Or I think that was the main one in the US, because I think all of his earlier films were being released around about the same time Hanabi was coming out. So I think there was a kind of a Takeshi Katano kind of season of films. Actually, Roger Ebert, I've got a quote from him, because he reviewed the film, was a big fan. I'm just going to read what he said. In Kitano's willingness to let characters languish in real time, to do nothing in between moments of action, he forces us to look into their eyes and try to figure them out. Films that explain nothing often make everything clear. Films that explain everything often have nothing to explain.
You knew what he was on about that.
He did.
Fella, didn't he?
He certainly did.
Basically what I've just said, but...
That was just what you said, wasn't it? But I mean, exactly. He's right, because a lot of these films now are like my friend Andy, he complains constantly about exposition, like massive exposition dumps.
That's every
constantly. So, and again, he's right about that, because that's currently a big thing, and a lot of people come out and they go, "Oh God, another exposition dump! How are they going to tell me this information?" They like to use the phrase, "as you know," stuff like that, and you're like, "Fuck, here we go," But I believe that, like he said, like Ebert is saying, a lot of this is up to your interpretation, how you feel about what you feel about these characters, what you get from these characters, what you get from this journey, and what you get from this crossroads movie, if you will, is up to you. And it's and again, Katana said that as well. He doesn't want to say, art is subjective. Like, he knows it. He's a literal artist, And I remember I went to a uni art showing once, and I went up to, because my friend's girlfriend was doing the course, and I went there and I went up to somebody. I went, because they were all stood next to their pieces, and I was like, I looked at one, I went, "Oh yeah, I really like this piece. It reminds me of this. It makes me think of this." And she went, "You're wrong." And I went, "No, I'm not." It's like, "No, it means this." And I went, "That's not how I interpret your work, and I'm allowed to interpret it however the fuck I want to interpret your work." She's like, no, it means this. You're supposed to think this. I'm like, I'm supposed to think whatever the fuck I want to think. You can't tell me how to think.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Hippie. Fuck you, hippie.
And I was just like, then I almost went round and went, you know what I think now? I think it's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Was it made with your own feces? Because it's shit.
Piece of crap. But again, like, I think there's a lot of this that's open to interpretation. But I do like the way you've kind of described yeah, it is a depression film. I think not depression era, but
no,
it is a film.
It's a good film, but it is like you can just see it's like the whole everything's.
Yeah, it's grim, bleak,
which is good because it's like, as you say, it's a Yakuza film, and it's just showing the Yakuza as just like it's like any other office job. It's
and,
like,
there's
job.
So much like ineptitude in such. You think that, like, again, you think of these cool, suave, professional killers and criminals, riding around on motorbikes.
It'd almost be like neon noir kind of thing, wouldn't it?
Like something like Black Rain or something like
And in reality, it's basically office block in Slough.
Pretty much.
Even the two office blocks both gangs are in are identical. I mean, they probably only used one, that's why. But it's like, and as you say, it gets confusing.
Yeah, a little bit.
In that you don't know which you think is that their building or the other building. Like when the grenade goes off, it's like,
they are identical buildings. Yeah. And again, they're introducing a lot of characters, and you've got to keep up with them. Because I didn't think that I almost didn't think that Takahashi was the same guy from the start as well. No, because I thought his hair was really different, but he was the same guy. Like, he was the same guy. So I love that as well. After he beats him up, like proper fucking decks him in that toilet scene, because he's told him, "You're gonna have to do this job. You might, And he's like, "Well, I don't want to do it. My men have died before." And he's like, "Well, you're gonna do it." And he went, "All right, I'll do it." But then he's like. Because he's basically being sent almost to certain death, potentially. Beats him up in the bathroom, proper decks him, and then he leaves him there, and someone's trying to get out of the cubicle, and he's lying against the door. He's like, "What the fuck's I want to get out, let me out." Again, great bit of humour.
And the henchman keeps the bog troll busy by just staring at the towel.
Oh yeah, he's like, and the guy's like playing with the hot towel guy. He's like, I can't go in. Love that. And it's not even that intimidating. He's just stood there, but he knows.
Yeah.
And then the next day, he was like, when they're finalising the meeting where the stabbing happens, and he's like, it was like, "When you're gone, maybe I'll be safe to take a piss."
Oh yeah, won't be worried about going the bog.
Don't worry about going for a piss. But yeah. I think this is definitely an interesting film. It's definitely it's one that will leave you thinking. Like you said, it's a bit of a thinker. It's not.
It's one of those films where you might not enjoy it. Like I said, it's kind of like it didn't do much for me this time. I remember enjoying it years ago more.
Yeah,
when I was in my watching these kind of films phase, and but when I watch it this time, I was like, "Oh god, that is very slow." It's very. But then when you think about it afterwards, like a lot of films,
stay with you.
Like I went to see Black Widow. I haven't done much thinking about that since.
No,
but this one, I've thought, and then I've read a bit about the stuff that's happened since
in his life. Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, it makes sense to what I was thinking when I was watching it, kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it is a good film. It's not a crap. You know what I mean? It's like
it's not a bad film.
Don't watch this. Yeah. It is good. I mean, all the people who say all the awards and the plaudits it's got. It's plaudits. It's plaudits.
Pundits? No, pundits is another thing.
Plaudits. All people who say it's good.
Applaud it.
Plaudits. whatever the word is, that means people say it's good.
Yeah.
It is. You can see why.
You can see why they like it. Yeah.
You can especially see why critics like it, because it is very art. It is very arty.
Well, that was it. When I brought up Meek's Cut-Off, did I mention that on the recording? I don't think I did. No, but I talked about it off recording. Meek's Cut-Off was one of my least favourite films I've reviewed on the podcast, if not the worst. Yeah. And I watched the 2 Ewok movies, so you got to know it's fucking.
Those Ewok movies are classics.
But it's quite similar in a way that it's minimal. Not really that much happens, but this still has a fair bit that happens. But that was just boring. It was just fucking dull. And it's a Western, and it's it's about this group traveling, but it's so fucking boring. And again, it didn't leave much up for me to think about. The characters weren't particularly interesting. It was rather boring. No, not one gun is fired in the entire film. And I was like, it's a fucking Western. Fire at least one gun. Even if it's a fucking raccoon or something, just, do something. Fuck all happened. But like the minimal moments in this made me think and made me, look at the depth of the characters. What are they thinking? What are they going through? Yeah. What are they trying to say? What is the director trying to say? Meek's Cutoff was just like, it's dog shit. It's dog shit. Because I was looking for like a really good kind of feminist Western for the month. And I was like, and that was what my friend said on the podcast. He went, so the critics' reviews are massive, like 100%, but the audience reviews really low. So all the critics are like overthinking it, are going, oh yeah, it's great, and obviously the influence is here and the way they frame the shot and they do all this and da-da-da-da-da. But actually it's just a fucking boring movie, and that's why the main audiences didn't like it. And I think it's like with this in Japan as well, like probably the critics quite liked it, but again, massive flop. But then over here, obviously, again, like you were saying, he's a comedian. This was his first kind of few films trying to get out of that vein and do something different, but
I think probably over here as well, and in Western audiences hadn't seen that
type of film,
whereas Japanese audience were probably like, well, this isn't what we should be getting for this kind of film. Do you know what I mean?
But apparently at the same sort of time the Kinji Fukasaku movies were coming over to, like, around the kind of late 80s, early 90s, they were being imported, probably with help from Tarantino himself, going, these are great, I saw these in Japan, these are amazing. So it was all kind of, and then I think we got quite a few kind of 90s ones with like, what's his name? Takashi Miike, and his kind of, because he's influenced again by both directors, Kinji Fukasaku and Takeshi Katano. Those are and his are like proper mad, like Ichi the Killer, for example, is stuff like that. Dead or Alive and all the other ones he's done, like a proper fucking intense mad, but they still have an edge of Sonatine in them. There's still something about that, these self-destructive characters, and they have the action, they have the fast-paced stuff, but then they'll be a bit more of a thinker than an original like Kinji Fukasaku one. So it's fascinating to see the history and the progression and how it's transformed, and again the juxtaposition from the Kinji Fukasaku movies as well. It's been really interesting to see that dichotomy of how, from the 70s to the early 90s, how much a Yakuza film can change and what can be said about the Yakuza and the people that work within the Yakuza as well. But yeah, really, really fascinating. But yeah, don't watch Meek's Cutoff. That's my takeaway.
That's a takeaway from this.
That's a takeaway from this. Don't ever watch Meek's Cutoff. It's on Amazon right now. I don't recommend it. Never watch it. It's always on Amazon as well. It never goes away. I've got the Just Watch app, so it tells me what's on all this.
Or if it's your favourite film, let us know in the
comments.
let
us know how much you love Meek's Cutoff.
How wrong Dan is.
I remember Nathan was saying, like, don't tag the director in this one. I was like, don't worry, because I hadn't watched it and they had watched it, and they were like, have you seen this before? And I was like, no. And they were like, yeah. I was like, oh fucking hell. This is so fucking boring.
It's kind of like when you say to me to watch a film, I go, yeah, okay,
yeah, sure, why not? Oh dear. Is there anything else you want to kind of say about the film, or anything you want to bring up? Because I think we kind of covered it.
I think we covered all the main
aspects. I don't think I've got much more in my notes. Oh yes. So apparently, Takeshi's shooting style and editing style is it's been heavily influenced by like French New Wave.
Right.
So things like people like Jean-Luc Godard and Jean-Pierre Melville. So like Le Samurai and all those kind of things. And,
La Baguette.
Yeah, La Baguette. My favourite film, La Baguette. But yeah, so like you can, there's some of that. I mean, I'm not that familiar with French New Wave, so
I can't say. I mean,
can't say.
I think I've seen a few episodes of Hello Hello. is that be classed?
Yeah, I've seen. I genuinely have not seen that many French films. I don't know why.
No.
I just haven't seen that many. I do like the work of Luc Besson.
I must say, Leon doesn't count.
Yeah, Leon does not fucking count. But yeah, I've enjoyed discussing this film. Again, it's not. Again, not much happens in it, not much goes on, so we can't talk about it that far in depth. And again, like the IMDb is blank. There's literally nothing on there. I've had to scroll articles on YouTube and stuff to find.
I think it's one of those ones where it is a thinker. Afterwards you watch it and like it's a different. Obviously, it's Japanese, so it's not like a Western standard film the way it's the narrative runs kind of thing either. Yeah, so it is. It's very art house, but not. Yeah, it kind of sits in between quite a few little things.
It's kind of it's where genre meets art house, if anything, because there's very much a genre element. There's an absurdist comedy element, but then there is the kind of the way the shots and and kind of again like the way it's handled and the way the images work. Like you said, I think the thing that confused me almost about it was the fact that nobody's face changes in it. There's no shock, even like non-Yakuza members. There's no one gets frightened by the bullets or anything. No, and it's like so it kind of like you're thinking what's going on? It's almost a bit surreal.
Yeah, and whether that at the end
is that like
is that him just thinking back to all the stuff he's done, remembering it, kind of thing? Because it is just like so bizarre. Like nobody they're getting shot and they're just like, okay, I've just been shot.
Yeah, I mean,
not even look a shock on their eyes when they've got a bullet hole in their head.
To go back to the Kinji Fukasaku movies, when they're getting shot and when they're reacting to being shot, they're like, they're falling and they're spiraling. And
so it's whether he's
fucking blood's going everywhere.
Specifically made it the exact opposite.
Yeah, he's gone. Okay, that's that. Yeah. I'm not doing the original kind of Yakuza films, the Robin Hood style ones. Yeah. I'm not doing that. I'm going to do this. So he's actively like gone against the grain. And again, that's probably why he's had success, not had success.
And probably the people who've like watched it and gone, oh, this is a work of art, are probably people who've watched loads of these kind of films and stuff and gone, yes.
I mean, one of my favorite things about like Halloween is that it's quote unquote boring. Like not much fucking happens in Halloween until like the last 20 minutes. Like obviously there's a couple of kills here and there, but the main like chunk of the action is like the last 20 minutes. The rest of it is all the again like they say, horror is the thing that happens and terror is the anticipation of that horrible thing happening. And I think Halloween is much more about terror than it is horror, because that horror only really comes later on.
I think that might be the thing with Sonatine as well, is Halloween, you've got killer at the beginning. It's implied that this it's coming up to Halloween when he comes back. She's babysitting. Oh, something's going to happen. Whereas Sonatine, it's like you go into Okinawa. There's no set like storyline arc for your brain to go, this is what's going to happen kind of thing. Because it's kind of like up and down.
Yeah,
it's like
you kind of think, is it about this?
Happening. Yeah.
Is it about this? What is it about? And again, like Takeshi's character, Murakawa, doesn't have that much dialogue really.
No.
There's a lot of it just his look. And again, like you said, doesn't really change expressions, doesn't, raise an eyebrow. It's like the set 2 or 3 expressions that he has. And again, that doesn't necessarily tell you anything about him. But then it does. It does inform that as well. But but I've always enjoyed Halloween. It's always grabbed me. But again, I'm like nothing's happening. Literally nothing's happening. But it's done in such a way. And I think it's the same with this to a degree. I wouldn't say it's as successful as Halloween in that regard.
It just shows you actually, if you think about the 70s Halloween compared to the remake or the new Halloween, that is a modern style slasher where it's like kill a minute, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Loads of deaths,
it's
something's got to be going on all the time.
It must be exciting.
For us ADHD weirdos nowadays.
Yeah, people are going to leave or complain or there's not enough kills, but back in the day it was tense, it grabbed you, it had hold of you. Again, it's just fucking babysitters chatting for like 20-30 minutes, then talking to kids, watching movies, then you get the odd little kill, but again, you're not again, there's not a lot shown. It's all
not
kind of
gratuitous.
implied.
Yeah.
It's not your
Not
Friday the 13th.
Not someone's teeth getting smashed out on the floor and all that.
No, exactly. Or like if you look at your Rob Zombie Halloween as well, like in comparison to that's all like brutality, and it's with like there's this gratuitous fucking rape scene for no reason. It's just like all that sort of stuff. But again, there is I did see a similarity between the two to a degree in that like again it's telling you it's boring. It's telling you it's mundane. It's not like Halloween where it's just like, oh, not much happens, but you're on board. It's like, oh, this is boring. This is definitely, but you should be bored.
Yeah.
This is boring. But it's done in such a way that the characters are bored.
It's just occurred to me, actually. It is done as it's boring, but I didn't look at my phone once.
There you go. See?
And you know what I mean?
There you go. And I'm bad for that. I'm really bad for like
Black Widow. I could have been on my phone all the way through, and that's like
just typing away. Ray Winston's accent is fucking atrocious yet again. Stop giving him roles with accents.
Doing the review while I'm watching it.
Yeah,
this film is shit.
I know what I'm going to say about this. You'd be like the old reviewers with the light and the pen and the notepad, going, "All right, this is rubbish."
So so that is something.
So yeah,
it's always a good point. I think, even if nothing's happening and you still drawn to the screen, there's something happening.
And again, like there's loads of like horror movies I've seen where they're like there is lots of shit happening, but they're fucking boring.
Yeah.
But he's such a good artist that he can tell you you're supposed to feel bored. These characters are bored. This is mundane. This is their day-to-day job, and it's dull as fucking dishwater.
Yeah.
But
it's done in boss that they hate. Who's telling them what to do.
Who doesn't fucking care for them? It's and it is kind of relatable in that way. I've just left my job at John Lewis after 3 or 4 years, and I can definitely relate to some of the stuff in this. Like, fuck me, here we go again, another entitled customer.
So if you start getting your back all tattooed, we're going to have to start worrying.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, you won't be able to tell because I'll get the tattoo in such a way, like the Yakuza do, that I can just cover it all up. Yes. But no, I think that's the artistry here, is that it is everything. The characters are bored, but you aren't bored, and I think that is masterful in a way to be able to do that. It's almost like like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Have you seen that?
No. I know
You're familiar with it. Yeah. So you have to be a really good actor, to play a bad actor, to show someone being bad at acting. And it's like this. It's like you've got to be a really good filmmaker to make a boring film in a way. But again, I've seen films that have got like, kills every 5 seconds, and all this sort of stuff. Still fucking boring. There's nothing to it. Yeah. But this is something very, very special, I think. And I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend. Again, I've seen a lot of cheap DVDs on eBay that you can pick up. Probably not the best quality. I don't think they've done. Don't know if they've done a Blu-ray release. Actually, no. Tell a lie. BFI did the trilogy.
I think it wasn't a very good.
Oh, was it not?
Cut on
the BFI
one. If I remember rightly.
Yeah, because they did Violent Cop, Boiling Point, and Sonatine as part of the trilogy. Yeah. It's like a blue cover with a blue thing, light blue thing. But there is some DVDs out there which are like £3 or £4 on eBay. So it's not on any streaming stuff, but like you struggle to find that sort of stuff. But again, Arrow does have like Hanabi and some other films he's done.
You're looking for a blue fish with a spear through it.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's just a random cover.
Yeah, like he's apparently that was quite a rare fish as well, and that was like point. The point to the film was that it was
very arty cover again.
Apparently, it was a fish that was dying out. It was becoming extinct. So I think maybe he was saying something about Yakuza and the characters becoming just seem to be just dying for no real reason. Everyone's just
the more
dying.
you talk about this film, the more I actually want to go and watch it again.
Do it. It's
bizarre, isn't it? That's what I like about your podcast, man.
Yeah,
your deep dives.
Well, I always come in with an opinion, but like when we compared the Halloween movies we did for a couple of years ago, and we're going to do this Halloween as well. Got some coming up. Got some good ones coming up. I hope they're good anyway. But I never fully when I do those comparisons. I never fully decide.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably going to lean this way. But when you discuss it, I'm like, oh shit, yeah. And then again, I think, oh, actually, no, I actually did quite like that, and actually, that's better. And I can fucking by the end of it, I can completely flipped. Yeah. You can convince me, or vice versa. Yeah. I'm not trying to convince. And
I think the next time you'll watch a film, you can watch the same film. And on a Sunday afternoon and think, wow, that was great. But you watched it in the cinema and it's pile of dog shit. That.
Yeah.
And then you put it on, I mean, apart from Gemini Man, which is just absolute shit. I tried to watch it again last night.
Yeah.
It's utter garbage.
My friend invited me to see that at the cinema, and he also invited me to see Men in Black, and I turned them both down. He came back and I went, were they any good? No, they were shit. And I was like, I was correct. I saw the trailer and I went, it's shit.
I walked out to Gemini Man in the cinema. I think it's the first film I've ever proper, like, almost stormed.
Did you ask for your money back?
No, I've got one of those Cineworld
cards. You got the
cards.
Cineworld card,
so I couldn't really. But it was the 3D on it as well was just...
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. But I literally stopped... My mates, watching it with my mates, and I just went, I'm going... I am offended by this film.
I don't think I've ever walked out of a film, but
it's just so bad, and the 3D thing was just didn't work at all. So I just thought,
I think one day it will happen. I think one day I'll be able to walk out of a film. But part of me thinks like you can't say anything about it unless you've seen the whole thing. Should have gone to see Gemini Man. It would have been your ideal opportunity to go. No, this is absolute cack. No, I didn't want. I didn't want to. I was like, same with Men in Black International. I went, looks shit. Looks utter dog shit. That trailer tells me it's utter dog shit. If the trailer isn't selling the film to me, and they're probably using all the best bits in the trailer, I'm not going. I'm not going to waste because I didn't have a card. I think he had a card, and I didn't, and I was like, I'm not doing it.
Have you seen the trailer for Snake Eyes?
Yeah, it looks all right. It looks all right, Snake Eyes.
I just thought it looked like different bits taken from different Marvel films and John Wick 3.
Yeah, I can see that.
The whole trailer was like, hang on, isn't that...
Wait a minute.
Is this a Marvel film? Oh no, it's G.I.
Well,
Joe.
I mean, Marvel did publish most of the basis for G.I. Joe in the comic and Larry Hama and stuff. So, Larry Hama is already... I think he's seen it already, Larry Hama, and said it's really good. But they've changed it up a bit, and he's like, yeah, they've updated it, but I like it. I don't think he said that about the previous G.I. Joe films. So there might be something to it.
It looked very Marvel.
Yes, but I think we're coming to an end. But I've enjoyed this. But I'm gonna tease it now. Let's tease it now. But we're gonna have you back on for Halloween.
Yeah, my favourite time of the year.
Shock Phobia Fest is coming back, and Dan is coming back to compare a couple of movies. So this time we did, what was it last time? Tales of Halloween and Trick or Treat, which is a good one. And we're going to look at, I think it was Bloodfest and Hellfest.
Yes.
So two films that were actually released a month apart, only a month, and both about scary, spooky horror Halloween scare fest type.
The things that have come all the rage in this country recently.
Yeah, I mean, I've fucking worked on Tower Scare Fest, so I should fucking know. But yeah, and in America and stuff. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. That'll be fun. Yes, that'll be a fun one.
It will.
But yeah,
I'm sure I shall have opinions.
I'm sure. They might be good. They might be bad.
I'm just hoping there's no nudity involved in any of these films.
I mean,
I'd like my wife to walk into when I'm watching a film and go, oh, it's normal, wholesome fun.
I think she can like smell it or something. Maybe she's got like a spider sense going on. She's like, breasts. There's some bare breasts being bared. Quick, I must come in and stop him.
It is funny. I mean, it's in the living room. It's like I'm not in a separate room or anything. It's just that my missus just doesn't watch telly.
Nah,
she's always off pottering, doing something.
Yeah,
the dishes normally, keep her locked in the kitchen.
Keep busy. Keep busy. That's what I say.
She does, or she's got a face in Facebook or something. The fun stuff that we do in the modern era,
the modern day,
and then she'll just look and go porn.
Yeah, well, I think if Takeshi Katano had it back in the 90s, probably would have been.
Maybe we should just compare two porn films, and then she can go in and go, "You watching porn again?" And be like, "Yep."
That's why I got you to watch Caligula. That's what I was like. Well, I mean, this time we'll just make you watch actual porn.
I just literally told her, I'm just watching Caligula, and she went, "Oh, what's that one?" It's basically porn.
So it is porn. This one time it is going to be porn. Yeah. But
I think she walked in on the only bit that wasn't porn in that film.
Really? Oh, fuck me. She timed it perfectly then. But yeah, I'd like still my most, since I moved over to Anchor as my podcast provider or fucking host, whatever you want to call it. That's still my fucking top one.
Caligula.
#
Brazilian fart.
Yeah. And Brazil love my podcast. Brazilian. They are 35% of my downloads are from Brazil currently.
Fart porn enthusiasts of the world.
Clearly, they're like, well, you said fart porn on Caligula, so we must have some. But yeah, thank you for all my Brazilian fans for listening. But I think the main reason it was a good SEO one was all the hashtags I used, like cunnilingus, hardcore porn, fisting.
The main things the internet was made for.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're all like, "Oh yeah," and then they get there and like, "Oh, it's a review of a film."
Yeah, it's two dudes.
I got loads of comments on Facebook as well, like because I put
it was a popular one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I share it on loads of like groups because there's thousands of people on these groups and stuff. So I think if one person listens, that's a win. But loads of people are like, "Yeah, I love it," and some certain people were like, "It didn't come out that year," and I went, "Well, according to IMDb, it fucking did." So it was released in Italy, and I think it was released everywhere, like 1979 and then 1980. He was like, "Actually, it came out in 1980." I was like, "Well, technically, we're both right."
That's when my eyesight changed for the worst.
For the worst.
I remember it well.
Too much wanking. But yeah, there's loads of people like, "Oh yeah, I love it. Oh, I hate it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good, but this is not so great."
It's amazing when no one's seen it, and then you start doing this. Everyone's suddenly seen it. Like, oh yeah, I know.
And there's so many people who listen as well. Were like, "Yeah, probably won't watch that one." I was like, "Don't blame you. Do not blame you." It's like the jizzing in a bowl. Fair enough. It's not maybe not for everybody.
I've seen some shit, man.
I've seen some stuff, man. I've seen it all. But we've watched it, so nobody else has to watch it. So I think
it's a service we provide.
Something. But yeah, maybe we'll look at something similar maybe in the future. I do like looking at my controversial, challenging films. So,
yes,
indeed. That's what I like.
It's always fun.
Yeah, it's always something different, something interesting.
But we've got Hellfest and
Bloodfest.
So I don't think that will.
No,
but you never know.
You never know. There might be a bit of
tune in.
Might be a bit of nudity. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that relatively soon because I'll have to get things prepared because I've got a bit. I'm having a little break in where are we now?
We're in July
now. So I'm no episodes in August. Yakuza month was gonna be in August, but I thought I'll have some time off to get my grips with my new job, make sure I know what I'm fucking doing before they sack me.
Sounds like a sensible move, young man.
And then all this. I've got all this. These two will now be pre-recorded, so they're ready just to be edited. So I'll get them up whenever, and then I'll get the other two done as soon as I can. The next one is probably one you might have preferred to have done. It's Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Yes.
Yeah.
Brandon Lee.
Yeah, Brandon Lee, who played Chinese man, he plays a Japanese man.
Indeed.
Probably not something that would happen nowadays, but it did. It did. And also, Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren
in his black hair phase, wasn't it?
What is it called? Cultural appropriation, because he's constantly like dressed like a samurai, isn't he? It's like, this is such a weird film. But yeah, we'll finally see how the states handle the Yakuza.
Yes.
You got Shang Tsung's in it as well. Shang Tsung from Mortal Kombat. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Carry something, I think. Tokugawa something, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But he's in it. He's the main Yakuza villain. So he's not a nice guy in that. But also, and you get that lovely line about got the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Yes, yeah. I think that was contractually obliged in all his films after that.
apparently, they couldn't say you've got the biggest dick I've ever seen. And they were like, no, you've got to say you've got the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man. So you've seen bigger dicks on sperm whales, horses.
I've been to the zoo many times.
Yeah, I like looking at animal dicks. Tortoise dick, yeah. Very very weird line.
The biggest dick I've seen on a man. Shame it's your nose.
You've got the biggest dick I've ever seen on a woman. Who knows? Some fucking weird decisions. But yeah, I will talk about that very, very soon. But I hope you guys are looking forward to that one because that's next in Yakuza month. So we'll dive deep, and then we're going to look at a Yakuza comic to end the month. We're going to look at kind of a Green Arrow Yakuza comic. So that'll be something interesting. But thank you very much, Dan. This has been brilliant.
Pleasure as always.
You have been a star. And again, no, this wasn't your favourite, but I've really enjoyed discussing it and getting the nitty gritty.
That's what we want. We want to. You can't just watch all the good stuff.
No, absolutely not.
But it's good in everything.
Absolutely, there's a lot. I got a lot out of this, and it will stay with me, and I'll remember this for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
and
I'm quite well known for probably not liking most films. Everyone goes, "Oh, it's amazing." I'm like, "Fucking shite, miserable fucking bastard." My mates come out to films, go, "Oh, it's the best thing I've ever seen." I'm like, "Do you think? Was it really? Come on now."
Black Widow was shit.
It was, though. Come on. It was.
I thought it was fine.
It was all right. It was made for TV. It was made for Disney Plus.
Yeah, maybe. But I enjoyed
Sunday
it.
afternoon. I'd rather have done that Disney Plus premiere, whatever it's called, and paid to watch it at home.
Yeah,
paid
maybe.
to go to the cinema myself.
Well, that's
That
is your opinion.
I am an old man. Remember?
Yeah, you are. Old bastard. Old bastard.
I'm one of them old fellas who sits in the cinema with me Tesco bag and me cup of my, I have like a little flask and that. Get me flask.
I brought in my own sweets, so I don't have to pay.
Me Werther's.
I'll give it a good suck. Sorry, love. Anyway, right. So Dan,
always used to go off on a tangent.
we do very weird, dirty tangents that we have. Before we go, Dan, you are on the social medias. You're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What are your handles for those?
You ask me this every time. I can never remember. It's at Dan's Photo on Instagram, and that's my main one, really.
I think.
And it's at Dan Burgess Photo on Facebook. And at Dan Burgess 01 on Twitter.
That's it. I think you've got two Twitter, haven't you? You've got two Twitter.
I've got
photography one and just your regular.
Yeah, my regular sweary.
Which one would you rather me tag you in?
The photography one, probably best.
One? Yeah,
but
sure.
Either.
Yeah, but you are good at it, and people should know how good you are.
If you want to see me being all like
artsy
properly
fartsy.
Professional, then me photo ones. If you want to just hear me swearing about politics and stuff, on me personal one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I do it a bit on both, to be honest. I'm like,
I don't use Twitter a lot.
No,
I like Instagram. I'm currently doing a 365.
You are, yes.
Thing, so
I'm really enjoying that
every day, trying to edit an image that I've taken that day. So join in the fun.
But yeah, I really enjoy it. And obviously there was a big demand because I think did you take a break from it? Or yeah, you took a little bit, but everyone was like, where are they? Yeah. Bring them back.
I basically went on holiday and forgot my list because I've already done the list of 365 words.
Because you did like a random word generator thing, didn't you?
So I forgot to take the list, so I thought, sorry, while I'm not here. So I thought this might be my ideal way of getting out of this because I've bitten off far more than I could chew here doing these photos every day.
Every single fucking
day.
I
said, maybe I can just stop doing these now. I've forgotten the list. Maybe that's it. And everyone's like,
no, you must continue. They are good.
He was sliding into me DMs going, you do not stop. It's the only thing getting me through the day. And I thought, I must do it for my fans.
Same here.
My 3 followers. Come on, man.
Same. It's very much the same here. I love my fans. Be nice if more people listened, but I don't mind. It's for me and it's for my fans, and as long as they're hardcore and still listening, or listen as much as possible, or even listen to the ones that interest them the most. You know, I do such a varied amount of stuff. There's a lot of stuff where people are like, yeah, I'm not into that shit. Not into fucking Sonatine.
Yeah. As long as you don't see my name mentioned and go, not watching, listening to that. Actually, shite again. Jesus, why do they keep
Dan's on again.
Why do they keep on getting that knobhead on?
Oh, fucking hell, not again. Stick with somebody else. Fucking hell. But yeah, brilliant. But I will tag you in all the relevant media when this comes out. September. So probably the second week of September, I think. This will be out. So
time travel.
I know, into the future.
It's amazing.
We'll be well into a 7th lockdown by then.
I know, yeah. We'll all be mutants by then. With amazing 5G reception.
So before I go, you can find me on Facebook at Secret Bores. On Twitter, it's at Dan_Bores. Instagram, it's at SpiderDan Secret Bores. And don't forget to use the hashtag #PrepareForPrattle. For everything else you need to know about the podcast, swing over to spiderdansecretballs.com on the World Wide Web. And I'd like to thank my patrons on Patreon. I am Jack's Musings, Paul Mellor, Max Byrne, Tony Farina and Scott Hodgson for their continuing donations. It is very much appreciated and helps Prattle World keep on turning. And if you ever find yourself in a position to help the podcast, please consider it. This has been great. Thank you very much, Dan. Bye-bye.
See you soon. Ta-ta.